is a quadratic expression in one variable because dia follow lah all the condition. The highest power is 2 and only one variable here. B, anyone?
Cikgu saya nak try.
Okay, bagi tahu nama tau.
Cheng.
Contoh, sudah, then answer.
Okay, Cheng cikgu. Lepas tu, s to the power of 3 minus 6 is not a quadratic expression.
Because?
Because yang to the power s to the power of 3, yang dia highest power of the variable is 3.
Yes, correct. So C?
Teacher, can I try?
Okay.
Generally, C is a quadratic expression in one variable.
Are you sure?
No, C is not a quadratic expression in one variable.
Yes. Why?
Because it has two variables x and y.
Yeah, good. Correct. D, anyone?
Can I try, teacher?
Okay.
1 over 2m square is a quadratic expression in one variable.
Okay, good. E. Takut nak jawab untuk E ke?
Cikgu, I try.
Okay. Okay, Chua.
Not a quadratic expression.
Why?
Because then it's not a whole number because the s power of 2 is a fraction.
Yes, correct.
Thank you, Cikgu.
So E is not a quadratic because the power is not a whole number. F?
Teacher, can I try?
Okay.
Ashwini.
Ashwini, yes.
4x, it's not a quadratic expression, teacher, because the variable with a power which is not a whole number.
Yes, fraction there, 1/2. Okay, bagus. Good try, everyone. Okay, a quadratic expression can be written. Okay, ni conclusion lah. So, this is a quadratic expression. Mesti kena letak A is not equals to 0. Sebab kalau dia equals to 0, then tak jadi quadratic. A is a coefficient of x square, B is the coefficient of x, C is a constant. Okay, ni biasalah. Okay, this is your homework. The first homework. Ada banyak lagi. So take note 1.1a. Next. Our second learning standard for today's lesson. Recognize quadratic function as many to one relation. Hence, describe the characteristic of quadratic function. Okay, dah quadratic function pula. Just now quadratic expression. Now quadratic function. Okay. Relationship between quadratic function and many to one relation. Before that, what is the difference between quadratic expression and a quadratic function? Siapa boleh jawab? Siapa boleh jawab? What is the difference? Here given quadratic expression ax square plus bx plus c. Quadratic function fx equals to ax square plus bx plus c. Can you spot the difference? Anyone? Daripada kelas 3 cempaka tak dengar suara lah. Girl, you dengar tak suara I ni? Takut I cakap seorang ni. Mana ni? Mana semua orang?
Dengar cikgu.
Oh, dengar. Sebab tadi line I pun macam tak apa nak okey. Okey. Daripada 3 cempaka, anyone? Can you spot the difference between quadratic expression and quadratic function? Oh, malu-malu ni. Janganlah malu-malu, kita nak belajar ni. Nanti I dah take note dah ni. Depan I ada name list. I dah take note siapa yang tak bersuara tu. Nanti jangan tanya I kenapa you dapat band 4. Cepat ke tak nak jawab? Okey. Dari 3 mawar. Anyone? Pun tak nak jawab juga.
Cikgu.
Cubalah, jangan takut. Salah. Okey. Siapa tu?
Cikgu, saya Idina.
Okey, Idina.
Quadratic expression dia tak ada fx kat depan.
Tu je kan beza dia. Betul, Idina. Cikgu nak bagi Idina band 6. Tiba-tiba je kan. Sebab jawab macam tu je dapat band 6. That's the correct answer. Sangat clearly nampak. The difference is fx. Kalau function dia ada fx. Yang ni advance sikit lah, you dah form 4 kan. So kita guna function. Kalau masa form 3, kalau you ingat lagi lah, kita guna quadratic equation. Banyaknya cikgu. Okay, quadratic expression without equal sign. Macam ni je, ax square plus bx plus c. Quadratic equation ada tanda equal. Okay, quadratic function pula ada fx kat depan. Fx equals to ax square plus b. Yang ni sama. Tu je beza dia. Okay, beza dia kenapa beza? Nanti ada kita tengok next. Okay. All quadratic function have the same image for two different objects. In general, the type of relation of quadratic function is many to one relation. Okay, jangan risau. Kalau tak faham yang ayat atas ni, sebab nanti kita akan tengok juga. Okay. For the graph of fx equals to ax square plus bx plus c, where a is not equal to 0, there are only two shapes of the graph. The value of a determine the shape of the graph. Okay. For quadratic function, only two graph. This is small shape graph. This is a greater than 0, then small shape. A less than 0, set shape graph. Okay. Siapa nak respon? A greater than 0. Contoh?
Teacher, can I try? Hello, teacher.
Ya, dengar.
Okay. A is more than 0 means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like that. A is less than 0 means start with -1, -2, -3 like that.
Correct. Sudah ke?
Yeah, yes, teacher. Sudashni.
Okay. You can nice your voice. A greater than 0 is a positive number. A less than 0 is a negative number. Yang sudah bagi contoh tadi itu betul lah. Okay, maximum or minimum point of a quadratic function. This one simple. If you have small shape graph, then you have If you have set shape small, then it have maximum point. Mana kerja? Okay. If the small shape graph, here minimum point. Tu je. So for a quadratic function, maximum point obtained when a greater than 0 or a positive number. Minimum point obtained when a greater than 0 or a positive number. Okay, boleh tak ingat? Macam mana nak ingat? Senang je. Kalau positive number, you always positive, then you smile lah. So smile shape graph. Kalau you always negative, kita bagi sad shape graph. Okay, what is the axis of symmetry of the graph of a quadratic function? Okay, axis of symmetry is a straight line that parallel to the y-axis divide the graph into two parts of the same size and shape. Also, the axis of symmetry will pass through the maximum or minimum point. Okay, this is the axis of symmetry. So simple. Kalau set shape graph, axis of symmetry passing through maximum point, and divide the graph into two equal size and shape. For smile shape graph, the axis of symmetry will passes through minimum point and divide the graph into two equal shape or size. Okay. This one conclusion lah daripada apa yang I cakap tadi. Okay, as you can see here, x equal to h, the formula of bukan formula, the equation of the straight line axis of symmetry. You dah belajar kan masa form 3 chapter 9 straight line. So x equals to h. Mana cursor ni? Hilang cursor. Okay, this one. X. Okay. X equals to h. This is the equation for axis of symmetry. Kalau you still remember, from 3 straight line, you ada y-axis and x-axis. The equation of this straight line, the straight line that parallel to the y-axis, then the equation x equals to, let's say here 1, so x equals to 1. If this straight line, the equation, let's say here negative 3. What is the equation of this straight line? Anyone?
X equal to -3.
Apa tu?
Q.
Bagus Q. Betul, correct. So, how to find the equation of axis of symmetry? This one lah. Dia tengok pada minimum point sebab this straight line, this axis of symmetry passing through minimum point. So, dia akan lalu dekat sinilah point ni. Dekat point ni, so dia punya equation kita ambil nilai x. That's why x equals to h. Same goes to this shape. Beza shape sajalah. So, kalau set shape graph passes through maximum point here, so kita ambil value x. So x equals to m. Ini x, ini y kan. Okay. Kalau you tak faham, boleh stop me and ask. Okay. Setakat ni okay tak? Okey tak? Tak ada orang jawab lah.
Okay.
Okay, cikgu.
Okay, you dah take note ke this homework? Second homework, self practice 1.1A, 1.1B. 1.1A just now soalan dia sikit je, 1.1B also sikit. Okay, boleh kita masuk the third objective for today's lesson. Boleh tak?
Boleh, cikgu.
Okay, thank you Manji. Okay, our third learning standard, investigate and match. Okay, this is the third and the last learning standard. Investigate and make generalization about the effect of changing the values of a, b, c on graph of quadratic function f(x) equals to ax square plus bx plus c. Apa yang kita nak buat ni? Okay. If we change the value of a here, what happen? If we change the value b here, what happen? C, what happen? Okay. The value of a determines the shape of the graph. As I mentioned earlier, if the graph a is a positive number, positive, so we smile. So smile shape graph. If a negative number, so sad shape graph. Okay, that's a, the value of a. If positive, smile, negative, sad. But also a, the value of a itself will determine the shape. Means if A1 here less than A2, kenapa ni I punya ni? Okay. Sekejap I bagi contoh. If A1 less than A2, let's say A1 I letak 2. So A2 akan jadi berapa? If here 2, ini mestilah greater than 2. Let's say I letak 3. So for GX, apa pula GX ni? GX ni nama graf lah. Ini graf G, this one graf F. Itu je. Nama sahaja untuk bezakan. Sebab kalau sini pun FX, sini pun FX, kita confuse pula. Ni graf yang mana? Ni graf yang mana? Okay. The green graph is FX. This one blue or purple is GX graph. So let's say here 3x square. So here 2x square. So A1 less than A2. As you can see, A1 2 dia lebih wider. Kalau 3 nampak dia macam lebih approaching y-axis. Kat sini ada y-axis sebenarnya kalau you lukis graph kan. Oh buruknya. Okay, this is y-axis. So approaching y-axis, the value of A lebih besar. Senang kan? Okay, macam ni. If the value of A here smaller than A2, smaller, this one 2, this one 3, then the graph yang kecil tu akan wider than GX. Macam tu. Okay. Lagi besar nilai, lagi approaching y-axis. Kalau I tulis 4x square, kalau graf ni, dia mungkin akan jadi macam ni. Lebih kecil lagi. Lebih besar nilai A, lebih kurus ataupun approaching y-axis. Okay.
Cikgu. Syifa dan Elisha tak dapat masuk sebab cikgu tak accept paper.
Cikgu punya automatic masuk. Macam mana dia tak boleh masuk?
Tak tahu, dia pun message kat saya.
Sekejap I tengok. Sebab dia sepatutnya auto. I dah setting dah. Dia auto. Okay, dah masuk belum? Siapa tadi?
Syifa dengan Siti Elisha.
Syifa. Mana? Tu Siti Elisha masuk dah. Siti Elisha?
Dengan Syifa.
Yelah, Siti Elisha ada tak? I nampak dia dah masuk.
Ya.
Mana? Suara, I nak dengar suara Siti Elisha.
Ya, cikgu.
Kenapa lambat?
Tadi dah request pukul 10.36 macam tu tapi tak masuk.
Oh, okey. Tak apalah. Sekarang dah masuk kan?
Dah.
Okey, Safwa. Safwa tak ada. Sebenarnya ada 2 orang tak masuk ni. Tapi tak apa, jangan risau kalau siapa tu? Okey, jangan risau kalau you tak dapat join Google Meet. Jangan risau, jangan takut. Okey, kita sambung Skrin nampak tak?
Nampak cikgu, nampak.
Okey. Ada soalan tak A ni? Okey tak? Okey Okey. A ni mesti value dia positif lah. Okey, untuk graf set shape graph. Okey. Sebenarnya konsep sama je. If the number of the value of A here smaller than the other, so dia akan lebih besar, lebih luas. Lebih luas. Okey. Kalau you tengok kat sini, A1 is less than A2. Kalau I letak value kat sini, mana I punya pen? Okey. Kalau I letak sini, katakan -3. So, apa value kat sini? Anyone?
-4.
-4. -4. Betul tak? Yang lain?
Betul.
Betul. Siapa tu? Betul.
Chua.
Oh, Chua. Okey. -4 is less than -3. Betul lah. Lagi the bigger the negative number, then the smaller that number. Kenapa ni? Okey. Okay, you tengok -3 kan greater than -4. That's why dia kurus. Approaching y-axis. Ini ada y-axis. Dia sebenarnya sama konsep. Sama je. Sama dengan smart shape graph. Lagi besar the value, dia lagi lagi comel, approaching y-axis. If the number less than this ataupun lebih kecil lah, so dia akan jadi wider. Okay. Now kita tengok pula value of B. Value of B determine the position of the axis of symmetry. Kalau A tadi, kalau positive number smile, negative number sad. Lepas tu ni pula, kalau dia besar dia kecil, dia punya effect adalah the size. Lebih besar ke, lebih luas ke, lebih comel ke, macam tu lah, lebih kurus ke, lebih approaching y-axis. Itu apa tu the effect of changing the value of A. Kalau kita tukar-tukar pula value B, okay, for A greater than 0 means A positive number, of course kita akan dapat smile shape graph. Okay, itu kalau A. Okay, B pula, B greater than 0, then the axis of symmetry lies on the left of the y-axis. Sini. Kalau B less than 0, then the axis of symmetry lies on the right of the y-axis. B equals to 0, then the axis of symmetry is the y-axis. Sebenarnya ni y-axis, tapi sebab dia function, kita tak tulis y dah. Kita tulis fx. Ni advance lah, advance. Sebab you dah form 4 kan. Okay, contoh, example for this graph. This graph, mungkin lah. Sebab dia positif, so maybe 2x square plus 5x plus 2, example. So this is the value of A, positive number. This is the value of B, also positive number. Bila dua-dua positive, then the axis of symmetry lies on the left of the y-axis. For this graph, maybe the equation, the function is 2x squared minus 5x plus 2. Contoh. Okay. So this is positive number. Here, negative number. So the axis of symmetry lies on the right of the y-axis. Okay, example for the graph, B is 0. So maybe 2x square plus 2. Okey tak? Ada soalan?
Okay, cikgu.
Okay, thank you Mani. Okay, for bawah ni, A less than 0 means negative number. Bila negative number, okay, look at the shape, set shape graph. So this function maybe negative 2x square plus 5x plus 2. So the value of A here negative, so that dia ada set shape graph. Value here positive. When the value B here positive, then the axis of symmetry will lies on the right of the y-axis. Okay, for this function, maybe negative 2x square minus 5x plus 2 example. So this is negative number. Here also negative number. Then the axis of symmetry lies on the left of the y-axis. B ni samalah dengan contoh ke atas. Cikgu nak kena hafal ke semua ni cikgu? Kena hafal lah. Kena hafal. Tapi kalau tak hafal pun tak apa sebab nanti you akan draw the graph. Bila you draw graph, you automatically, kalau you lukis graph dengan betul lah, you automatically akan tahu axis of symmetry tu belah mana. To the right or to the left of the y-axis. Siapa nak jawab? Axis of symmetry tu apa dia? Apa syarat dia? Ada dua. Yang mula-mula cikgu dah cakap awal-awal tadi. As I mentioned earlier. Anyone? Axis of symmetry. Apa? What is axis of symmetry?
Axis of symmetry tu dia kena parallel to the y-axis and then the left and right sides must be equal to size on the shape.
Okay. Maksud the axis of symmetry will divide the graph into two equal size. Correct, Mani. Satu lagi. Satu lagi. Apa dia?
Parallel to y-axis.
Ada satu tertinggal.
Passes through the maximums and minimum point.
Yes, correct. Siapa tu?
Chen cikgu.
Cheng. Good, Cheng. Betul. Manji cakap tadi, the axis of symmetry divide the graph into two equal part. Betul, correct. And then another condition, they must passes through maximum or minimum number. For A greater than 0, you have maximum or minimum number? Anyone?
Minimum.
Minimum. Siapa tu?
Liana cikgu.
Okay, good Liana. For A greater than 0 or A positive number, then dia ada minimum point. Kalau A less than 0 or negative number, kita ada apa?
Maximum point.
Yes.
Maximum.
Bagus. Ramai yang nak respon tu maximum point. Maksudnya faham dah tu, bagus. Okay. Okay, the last part. The value of C determine the position of the y-intercept. Ni dah belajar dah masa form 3 chapter 9. The value of C is actually the y-intercept. Cuma in form 3 you belajar to find the equation of straight line. Tajuk pun straight line kan. So you hanya belajar equation of straight line. Maksudnya kalau you ingat lagi lah, y equals to mx plus c. Betul? What is the value of c?
Y-intercept.
Yes, y-intercept. This one for straight line. Straight line. Okay, yang kita belajar ni adalah kuadratik. Kuadratik. Nanti you akan belajar dalam topik ni macam mana nak cari equation pula. Macam mana nak form an equation of quadratic function. Advance lah. Form 3, straight line ataupun linear graph yang garis lurus. You belajar kan x, y. So macam ni. Okay, apa equation dia? You masuklah formula ni kan. Okay, untuk form 4 ni kita advance, kita buat kuadratik pula. Dia lagi susah sikit lah. Tapi kalau you rasa, tapi dia lebih senang daripada straight line. Kalau you rasa ini senang, then quadratic function sangat mudah lah bagi you. Sebab form ni, quadratic function ni lebih senang lagi. Ini susah sikit. Tapi kalau you rasa ni senang, then you tak ada masalah. Quadratic function, okay. This is the y-intercept. For this graph, samalah. C itu simbol untuk y-intercept. Okay, example. The quadratic function x square minus 3x plus c passes through a point A as given below. Calculate the value of c. Maksudnya nak cari y-intercept. What is the y-intercept for A? Okay, A here, the point A lies on the y-axis. Thus, C equals to 4. Apa maksud ini? Okay, kan you ada straight line, graph. Cuma masa form 3, you belajar sini x-axis. Sini you tulis y kan. Tapi untuk form 4, kita tulis fx. Tapi masih maksud dia adalah y-axis. Tak tukar pula nama dia ya. It's still x-axis, y-axis. Kalau you further study dalam matematik, kita ada satu lagi axis. Macam ni. Yang ni z-axis. Ni jangan confuse lah. Nanti kalau you further study dalam matematik, you akan belajar lagi advance. Sebenarnya kita ada 3 axis. X-axis, y-axis and z-axis. 3D graph. Okay, sekejap. Okay. So untuk kuadratik kita tulis fx. Point A04. So katalah sini 4. So this is the point. Kan? Graph tu mungkin macam ni lah. Sebab sini you tengok y-intercept. So terus dapat jawapan. Sebab point 04. Kalau point macam ni, negative 1, 3. So you kena barulah nilai y lah. Sini x. X tu sebagai value y. T to f and then x tu start with negative 1. Then you buatlah calculasi equals to negative 1. So this is the answer for B. Because the question asks you to calculate the value of C. Okay tak? Clear tak?
Cikgu, tadi line cikgu tak bagus kok sebab suara tu macam terputus-putus.
Alah, tapi faham tak? Kau nak ulang?
Cikgu tak dengar.
Oh, ya ke? Penat I bebel. Okey, tak apa. I ulang. For A, okay, question asks you to calculate the value of C. For C, as you know, is a y-intercept. So, kalau I lukis graf kat sini, sini adalah point A, 0, 4. So, dia memang cut at the y-axis. So, C automatic kita dapat 4. Okey tak?
Okey, cikgu.
Okey.
Okay. Untuk B, given the point A here, negative 1, 3. So, the C, you have to the value of X and Fx. Fx ni actually value of Y. So, here Y 3, X negative 1. Then you substitute the value, then you akan dapat C. Okay tak?
Okay, cikgu.
Okay, cikgu.
Okay. Dia tak nak hilang yang I tulis tadi. Okay. The diagram shows two graph of quadratic function y equals to fx and y equals to gx. Yang warna purple ke pink ni adalah fx. The blue color is gx. Drawn on the same axis. State the range of the values of p. Explain your answer. Okay. Ni kita dah belajar tadi. Gemuk yang kurus. Kalau yang sini nilai dia 3. So, can you guess the value of P? Whether it's greater than 3 or less than 3. Anyone want to try?
P is less than 3, teacher.
Correct. Good. P must less than 3. Sebab tadi ada mention banyak dah. The smaller the value, then the wider the graph. The smaller the value of A, then the wider the graph. The greater the A value here, then the graph approaching y-axis. So P must be less than 3. Tapi if you just write like this, less than 3 means 2, 1, 0, tak boleh lah ya. Negative 1, negative 2. So, boleh tak kita nak tulis macam ni?
Tak boleh.
Why?
Sebab kena letak lagi greater than 0.
Kena letak must be greater than 0. Why?
Sebab kalau dia less than 0, dia jadi set graph lah.
Q ke?
Ya, cikgu.
Tak sia-sia bagi memanglah yang 6. Betul? Okay. Tak boleh lah less than less 3 greater than 0. Gitu-gitu tu betul. Dah tak boleh jadi bentuk shape dah. Dia akan jadi set shape graph. So ni jawapan. Homework self practice 1.1c. Okey, itu saja homework untuk hari ni. Okey, ada soalan?
Cikgu nak tanya tentang...
Ada 10 minit lagi, ada soalan?
Teacher, how many books we have to prepare for maths 3? Hello, teacher.
2 books.
Yeah, how many books?
Sudah. Can you hear me?
Yes, teacher. Now only can hear.
Okay. Two books for math.
Okay, teacher.
Okay, any question?
Teacher, buku pendek ke?
Ya, buku pendek. Tanya pasal buku je hari ni punya lesson, faham ke?
Faham, cikgu.
Faham, cikgu.
Yana. Okay. Kalau faham, siapa nak summarize today's lesson?
Nak try, cikgu.
Okay, ni siapa? Yana ni siapa?
Liana, cikgu.
Liana.
Ya, saya.
Liana ada dua kan? Siti
Liana.
Nurliana dengan Liana Maisara, tak silap cikgu. Kan?
Siti Liana.
So you? Okay, Siti Nurliana. Okay.
Okey, mula-mula kita belajar pasal quadratic expression dengan quadratic function. Kalau quadratic expression, dia tak ada fx dengan tak ada equal to. Kalau quadratic function, dia ada fx ke depan.
Ada equal sign.
Ada equal sign dengan fx.
Okay, bagus. Lagi, itu yang pertama.
Lepas tu, quadratic function ni dia punya relationship dalam graph is many to one. Okay. Lepas tu kita ada dua jenis graph. Kalau graph tu A more than 0 means positive number, dia akan shape dia akan jadi senyum. Kalau yang A tu dia negative number, dia akan jadi sad graph.
Good.
Untuk sad graph, kita akan dapat maximum point. Untuk smile graph, kita akan dapat minimum point.
Good.
Okay, lepas tu axis of symmetry dia akan lies between minimum point or maximum point. Dan dia akan divide equally dua part tu.
The axis of symmetry will divide the graph into two equal parts or two equal shapes, same shape, same size, and passes through maximum or minimum
Or
nanti
minimum.
ke?
Yep. So,
Maximum and minimum point.
yeah.
Okay, bagus. Lepas tu nanti tadi you also the effect of changing the value of B. Kan?
Kalau cikgu.
Okay. B macam mana? Kalau greater than 0?
Kalau greater than 0, yang kalau nombor A tu dia lagi besar, dia akan lagi curve. Means lagi dekat dengan axis.
You cakap pasal graph lah. Means kalau graph tu the value the bigger the value, then the graph will approaching y-axis.
Yep.
Bagus. Maksudnya you memang memberi tumpuan lah. You boleh cerita macam ni. Very good. Another 6 minutes left. Ada anyone nak add apa-apa? Ada tak? Okay. Kalau tak ada, so we end our class. And